I found an affordable apartment in an old apartment building in Texas. It was the quiet, simple, lonely place I had been looking for years. The first night I made myself coffee and drank it standing between small cardboard boxes. I thought I would finally settle down, but I was wrong. On the third day of my move, I found a small piece of notepaper in the bathroom. It was stuck just under the sink. It had only this sentence written on it: "Don't pay attention behind the wall, he'll hear you." At first I laughed. Maybe the previous tenant was bored or it was a silly joke. But after that night, things started to change. That night, around 2 o'clock, I woke up to a noise. The sound was very strange, like someone breathing slowly through a wall. It was like someone was there, listening to me. The wall where the sound came from was between my bedroom and the neighboring apartment, but I didn't have a neighbor. At least no one had moved there yet. I approached the wall, and that's when I heard the sound again. A hiss, and then something like a whisper. "Are you sleepy?" My blood ran cold. All I could think at that moment was that someone was hiding in the apartment, but I didn't want to call the police. I couldn't understand where the sound was coming from. And the scariest thing, it was coming from inside, but there was no echo. It was as if it was coming through the wall. I left the lights on until morning, and I sat staring at the wall, but that night, there was no more sound. The next morning, I pulled myself together and visited the old neighbor downstairs. She had lived here for 20 years. I shyly asked him who lived upstairs before me. He was silent for a while, then pursed his lips. He was a young man too, but he didn't stay long. One morning, we woke up to the sound of screaming, but when the police arrived, the apartment was empty. I said, "Just what?" The woman averted her eyes. Graffiti was written on the walls. It's like his own language. Nobody could understand. But, like you, he said he heard voices through the wall. At that moment, something snapped inside me. I realized I wasn't alone, but that didn't comfort me. On the contrary, I was even more scared, because the history of this apartment, it was darker than I thought. After talking to the neighbor, I started to feel uneasy at home. Since that night, the rattling behind the walls became more frequent. It was like someone was moving from inside. In the middle of the night, I couldn't stand it. I felt the wall. The plaster was loose. I took a hammer and started to tap softly, and behind it, there was a small gap. When I reached in there, I touched a box, an old metal box. There was no lock on it, no name. But when I opened it, a cold shiver ran through my body. Inside, some yellowed letters, a few Polaroid photographs, and a notebook scribbled in children's handwriting. The letters were a jumble, but the same words kept coming up. "He lives in the wall. He comes out at night. Don't open the door." In the photos, there were different parts of the house, but it was all taken at night, and in all of them, a shadow figure stood in the same place, right in front of the door. I started reading the notebook. The first page began with a childishly scrawled sentence: "He is watching me." On other pages, he talked about the sounds that came at the same time every night, clicks, whispers, and one night he wrote, "The voice was calling him." But the most shocking part was the note at the end. The person inside the wall whispered my name to me. He wants to play with me, but I belong to him now. I got goosebumps as I read it. The boy moved out of the house shortly after writing this, but why? The next night, just as I was closing my eyes in bed, a muffled voice came from inside the wall. It was as if a child's voice was whispering softly, "You will belong to me too." I couldn't sleep that night. Every sound, every shadow was now a threat. I approached the wall and leaned my ear against it. From inside, there were scraping sounds like fingernails. It was as if someone wanted to get out from the inside, slowly but surely. I felt the wall with my hands. A brick was moving. I pushed him. Behind him was a dark space, a small space inside the wall. And then, I couldn't tear my eyes away, because in the darkness, two eyes staring at me, dull, jet black and deep. I stepped back, but my knees were shaking. I didn't really know what I was facing at that moment, but there was something there, living, breathing, and who wants me? I couldn't take it anymore. That night, I ran away without even packing my things. When I looked back one more time, in the window of the apartment, a silhouette with black eyes was looking at me. Now I'm in another city, but every night, in the quietest moments of my sleep, I hear that voice, the sound of scraping the wall,